Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all. Get on in here. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. You are now in the den. So, guys, this is my review recap for Queensugar. Soothing Electric Vibration, okay? Season 7, Episode 6. Honey, first and foremost, y'all, let's take a moment and pray for Darla. I need Darla to have the strength not to relapse, okay? I need her to have the strength to tell the whole family, not just Ralph Angel, what is going on so that she can get help, okay? They will help you, Darla, and they will protect you. They will stand by you today, tomorrow, and forever, okay? I get why you scared to tell Ralph Angel, but I need you to speak up, honey, okay? Speak up. All right. I also need Micah to get a backbone, baby, and stand up for yourself. Have some daggone integrity. All right. Grow up. Grow up, Micah. Grow up. But y'all, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Now, we started out this episode with Darla and Ralph Angel, standing outside their house. For the first time, they on their own, they asking each other, did you sleep okay? Basically, Ralph was saying the street light kept him up. He asking her how about her. And she says, not really, But at the same time, they were saying that, she says that it don't feel like home, but it will, right? It's going to take them some time to get used to it. They're going to make it home, right? As they should, And they just basically looking around at the scenery and holding each other, whatever have you, right? They first morning in the new place, okay? And so we then get to see, Micah's out here. Micah, child, I need you to get with the program. It's really ticking me off. He out here about his daggone pool. He's still ignoring his mother's text messages. And, Karen Jones, shout out to her, reminded me in the comments of my last review that, Micah felt to kind of like peer pressure when it came to that fire when he was hanging out with the kids. And I'm like, you know what? You make a great point. I forgot all about that. And so I do want to see growth with Micah, right? We cannot still be out here worrying about trying to get people to like us and being with the in crowd and all of that type of foolishness. We got to be able to stand up for ourselves. And if we know that something is not right, basically don't fall for the bull. Micah's over here telling Zane that his parents is mad at him. And he's telling him, oh, you can't worry about who's going to be mad or not and how people feel and all this different nonsense, right? He's telling him that they got a big day ahead of them. And, Micah should be focusing on that. But it's like in your heart of hearts, Micah, you know that is not right. You know what you're doing is not right, okay? And Zayn is basically saying that, oh, you made this happen. It's your time, you to create and innovate and all this stuff. And Micah's like, I hear you, but I just feel like, it's at their expense. And he's like, art is meant to make a conversation and you can't please everybody. And I'm like, Zayn, you full of crap. You're trying to exploit this boy and you're trying to exploit his family. And the fact that Micah don't see this for what it is really freaking pissing me off. He talks about them being at the refugee site and them fighting for different things and the fact that Micah has been into activism. And so, of course, he's trying to beat him in the head and say, you can do both. You can make it about making money and make a big splashy donation to one of her groups or whatever. Do it for the publicity, a big one, and make it up to your mom. And have a conversation, and you also can make it about your activism. But Micah, you could have did all of that and not threw your daggone mother under the damn bus and not have to mess with these people either. So I'm confused as to, again, why you are so much needing these people to like you and to fit in with them. Now we move on to Nova. She's waking up to see that Billy done made some breakfast, honey. She in here frying up bacon, and she's just basically saying that she also got some fresh, cutting soon as they bloom for her cousins that, she mailed out to her, whatever, right? And Nova's taking that out the box, and she's basically like, smell this, it's like heaven or whatever, you know. And they both looking good and seeming to be feeling good, and, you know, seem to be enjoying this girl time that they are getting right now. You know, she got the juice on the table, and she was like, you know, it's just a little something, something. You know, she basically want to make herself feel like she's being, you know, useful or whatever, and helping Nova out since Nova's letting her stay there. And she basically was saying that, you know, she wanted to know what happened because Dominic is not making it back home. And Nova says that the trip has got extended now, okay, and he's going to be staying in Sedan a little bit longer. I said, Lord, Dominic, what is going on, honey? What is going on, all right? I hope everything is okay with you. I hope we ain't about to have no problems. You know how this goes. And so, of course, Nova's a little bit down about that. She basically was saying that, you know, he won't be able to leave until next week, possibly, right? And then, you know, Billy's telling her, I'm sorry, I know you really wanted to see him. And she says, yeah, I had this whole thing planned out. We were supposed to get tickets, go see a new show, you know, an actual real date and quality time that they could spend together. And she FaceTimed him. And she was like, but anyway, do you want to come? So Billy, we finds out, got a date, honey, so she can't go either. She was like, wait a minute, trombone shorty? So she was like, his name is Trevor. And she was like, we're going out tonight. She's like, oh, okay. And that bacon was looking crispy the way I like it, y'all, okay? I said, shoot, y'all making me hungry. But she says, you know, I need to get out of here. I need to experience some things. And Nova was telling her, absolutely, try new things. I'm all here for it, girl. Okay, go for it. And they do a cheers, you know, a little toast to new things. So, you know, you got Hollywood hanging out with Dante. They really seem to be bonding really, really good, you know. And he was saying that, you know, Dante would going and, you know, doing fishing and catching the fish in the yard and everything. It's really been good. Keep that going or whatever. You know, Little True starts crying. Dante's being very attentive to her. He's going over there, shaking her. I said, well, wait a minute, Dante. I think you're shaking her a little too hard and then a little bouncy, you know, walker. But Hollywood was saying he really likes the way he is with her. He's been very protective of her. And Dante was like, yeah, I always wanted a little sister. He said, well, she could be your little cousin. And Dante basically was saying, like, you know, I'm always going to protect you from everything, True. You don't got to worry. I'm your big cousin. I got your back. So, you know, Hollywood was letting him know the same way you saying that's a True is basically what it means, you know, for me, on Va and your older brother. And, you know, we are all trying to look out for you, and we are here to protect you too. And if it's anything that's going on in your mind, no matter what it is, you know, anything that's bothering you, anything that's happening at school, you could go ahead and let me know. You don't have to worry about it either. You're not alone either. He was like, I mean that. Anything that's on your mind. So when he said, you know, somebody bothering you at school or whatever it may be, Dante pretty much was like, what do you mean by that? Why did you say that? You know, he was like, I got your back no matter what. And so he was like, why did you say that? Holly was like, what do you mean? He was like, did you hear something? He was like, no, I didn't hear nothing. I just wanted you to know. But is there something you want to talk about, something that's on your mind? And he basically says no. And then all of a sudden, you know, he ready to go ahead and walk out and talk about, I think she needs her doll. So, you know, Hollywood started calling after him, and he kept walking. So Va come up and she like, what the heck is that about? And he was like, I think we got an issue, okay, at school. I think something is happening to him, and something may be going on there, and I'm definitely gonna find out what it is, you know. And Va like, okay. So we have them call this meeting. You know, they want to let all the other farmers know about, of course, Darla's idea that she had with the mill, you know, Queensugar Mill, that was Charlie's, right? And how they said they had still wanted to hold on to it. And, you know, basically she's letting them know that this is the only way they could survive at this point, is to be self-sufficient, take care of themselves. And with this mill, they got value, you know, and it's ours, and we might as well use it, right? Charlie basically got it from the co-op and whatever. So it's always the same grumpy old man. I forget his name, but he's always the one that's complaining every damn meeting and never fails. That's like, oh, well, what do you want us to do with this? And we got enough stuff going on, and we can't be doing extra things. And I get that, you know, y'all elderly and it's only but so much y'all could do. But it's like, you ain't even letting him finish talking and explain what they got plans. He didn't say nothing about anything for you to do. He's just letting y'all know what the situation is. It's like, damn, at least let them get the idea and the words out first before you so ready to cut it down. And so Darla starts to tell them that, this is just about gains. It's going to pay for itself. It's just maintaining it. And, they'll reap the benefits. They'll get tax advantage and stuff like that, right? It could be very lucrative. And he's like, well, who's going to look after it? She's like, me. Ralph Angel was saying how she basically was the one that helped Charlie the first time around, and she knows what the place needs. Nobody knows it better than her. And she says, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and tidy it up and make it look good just in case we do get any investors. And, it could be something bright for the future. And so here he go again. I appreciate everything you do, darling. You've done so much, and I like your energy and all this stuff. But I'm not sure about all of this or whatever, right? I know you do the books and whatnot, but getting the mill on its feet is a whole nother story, and that's something else or whatever. And you ain't hearing, somebody else is saying you ain't hearing what she's saying. Listen close. No, that was Miss Paritha, as a matter of fact, right? Miss P. And she says, she's good with it. She'll help. She'll pitch in if she can, since she don't have nothing else going on right now. She was like, I'm still a co-op member, and I'll lean into this. She's helped me, so I'm going to help her. And so, of course, they saying thank you to her and saying I appreciate that. But in the meantime, after a while, their words just started going out. Like, it was like Darla was literally phasing out. She's starting to have PTSD. It's becoming where the words is just overlapping, and she's not even hearing them clearly, because you got Miss P and Prosper and whatever other people in the room all talking over each other instead of to each other and actually listening to each other. And you could see the frustration coming over Darla, not to mention that, she already have her own other issues that she's already thinking about. And I was like, listen, y'all not going to sit here and stress damn Darla out, all right? And so finally we get this, investor guy that comes to meet up with Zane and Michael, that he had him there waiting for some rich white guy that just basically comes with this type of attitude that's like, oh, well, when can you get me more of that same stuff? Right now that you put this one thing out there, of course, he wants more, and he wants to know when the next one is going to be, right? He moved on from that last one. And, Michael was kind of like stumbling and stuttering and taking a long time to answer. And Zane just walks in, or jumps in, I should say, and basically is telling him like, oh yeah, he's already working on a new project. He's ready to go, and he got some new stuff coming soon or whatever the case may be. And then Micah just tries to kind of, jump off of what Zane already said and say, yeah, I do have some other things in the work. I am working on them. And then the guy's pulling out some drugs and is like, oh, y'all want to go ahead and party with this? And Micah's still looking stuck, like he don't know what to answer to. And Zane is pretty much like, yeah, we down, we want to relax, relate, release. And, they looking and saying, Micah, you down? And he just sitting here, yeah. And I'm just like, Micah, you don't got a backbone when it comes to nothing. Like, I could understand one or the other, but nothing. That's a problem, Micah. That is a real problem. You need to take some time and really think about yourself and what you want. So, nonetheless, he's still trying to play it off and say he got next level stuff. Is going to be, disrupting. It's going to be reclaiming and all of this stuff. And so the guy's like, that sounds dope. He like, yeah, so are we rolling up? And it's just like I said, Micah over here talking about, yeah, just because Zane said hell yeah. And he just looking stuck, looking back and forth between the two of them or whatever. And I'm just like, damn, of all the things that you learned from Nova, you didn't learn that part, boy, about just having a backbone, having a mind of your own and sticking up for yourself. I'm worried about Micah, y'all. So nonetheless, we see that Aunt Va and Dollars, in the cafe, in her diner, I should say, she's giving her some mail, and then she's saying how she's been missing them, how, True's usually her alarm clock in the morning. She actually overslept. And, Dollars doing her books or whatever the case may be, right? And she gives her this breakdown and shows her that this was her gross that she made last month. And Vi is like, what? She says minus supplies and, expenses. This is your profit. And she's like, all of that from the farmer's market. She was like, wow. I was like, yeah, pretty much. She was like, within an hour every time. So she was like, this is just so amazing. It's something, isn't it? She said, folks is lining up for my pies. Like, this is her dream actually coming true. She was like, sometimes you get caught up in striving for your dreams and you forget to actually live inside of them and just be able to enjoy it for a minute, right? And really seeing what you reaped. And she says sometimes you got to be able to just, be with the people you love, just sit in it, whatever, right? And really be able to enjoy it and take it all in. And that's definitely true, So she asked for two of the favorites and, Darla like, are you sure we could be doing that or whatever? And she was like, absolutely, yes, we can, my dear. Okay. And so she said it's their bestseller and, they're going to go ahead and celebrate. And so she tells Darla, thank you. Thank you for the work you've been putting in. Vibes Pies would not be on this track if it weren't for you. You literally have this vision for the farmers market and for the new revenue stream. And she just was like, you go, girl. Like, I appreciate you. And Darla says she wished everybody saw her that way. And, Ma was like, come on, tell me what's going on. And some of the farmers doubting you, and Darla just kind of smiled and was basically like, she just gets tired, right? She gets overwhelmed. She gets tired of having to prove herself to people over and over and over again. It's exhausting. And Aunt Vi was telling her, like, me too, but we must still persist. We can't give up. We got to do what we got to do, okay? And so she was like, at this moment, what we got to do is eat this daggone pie, girl. And Darla basically was like, yes, we do. And I just wish she felt comfortable enough to even open up to Vi and let her know what's going on. Like I said, I get why she feels that she can't tell, Ralph Angel now. And on the other end, I should say, we got Nova going into this school, child. And the teacher's telling her, like, they really don't want you coming in here giving a speech. They don't want you learning about, history. Of course, we got that CRT mess going on. So they are trying to limit the things that the kids are being taught. And, basically Nova's like, yeah, I get it. And the teacher was saying her hand is tied, but she won't let them tie her voice as a citizen. And she feels like they got to resist from the inside. And Nova was saying, fight fire with fire. But at the same time, she don't want to put the teacher in danger, right? And so she basically was saying, she says she thinks it's about teaching history and making people uncomfortable if they're uncomfortable, right? You got to go up against it. And she said, if you're up for it, I'm up for it. So Nova says she definitely was. Now, in the meantime, we got Miss Darla in the car opening up the mail, y'all. Lord, she opened up this mail and baby, Darla fell apart because it was a cease and desist. It was a non-disclosure agreement, I should say, right? To say that she cannot talk about anything pertaining to Chase. And she was like, just hearing him and all the things that he was saying in her head, and you could see that she's having a daggone anxiety attack. And she's reading the paper and she's looking confused and, worried and everything at the same time. I said, please, Darla, don't go do no drugs. Do not relapse. Do not have a drink. In the meantime, we're seeing like the back and forth that Ralph Angel is sitting at the daggone doctor's office with Baby True and he's calling her. She's not answering because she's calling and telling, she's calling and telling Jordan, like, I heard from Chase. He knows where I am. He found me. He knows where I live, He contacted me. I don't know what to do. He's reaching out to me. He's called me 3 times. He's threatening me. And you just see her having this bad panic attack. And at the same time, Ralph Angel is calling her. At one point, he calls Aunt Vi and she's saying, well, she left here a while ago. Is everything okay? He's like, she's about a half an hour late for True's appointment or whatever the case may be, right? And he was like, it ain't like her to be late. And so, of course, now he's starting to get worried and we see her kind of sitting outside this liquor store and seeing people looking all like they might be on some drugs out there or whatever, right? And so instead of her going to the appointment, and then instead of her going in the liquor store, she does go to a meeting, which I was happy to see. And she basically says in the meeting that she was really, really worried or whatever the case may be. She was so tempted to drink and she went to the liquor store, but instead of her actually drinking, she was so close, but she came there and she says she have this situation going on and she really want to tell Rough Angel about it. But at the same time, you know, she's scared to tell him, and she was like, she don't know why she's so scared. And then she said, no, let me take that back. I do know why. I'm not scared of what he would do to me. I think he would forgive me. So I'm saying, forgive you for what, Darla? Like, what would you be to the blame for in this situation, right? But she knows that he would go after the person. Now that part I do get. And so we see you know, Prosper and Miss Sandy, they so freaking cute. They trying to plan their little time together. They supposed to be doing this bachelor party or whatever the case may be. She's gonna have her bachelorette party. He's gonna have his bachelor party, and they saying, how many people is gonna be there and different stuff like that, and saying how this is moving, kind of fast. So, saying if Sandy want to slow down, he could understand that. And she was like, boy, you asking me a question like that? You know how I feel about you. All right, this ain't too fast. It is going just the right, speed or whatever the case may be, right? And he says he proposed because he felt like he had been around so long and done so much, and he don't want to miss, any time at all. Okay. And she says, I don't either, honey. All right. So they on the same page with that. It's not too fast. It's perfect. And so then we basically getting over, she's in this classroom teaching them. And she was like, how we got, Chloe and Haley, and we got Megan and Billie Eilish. She was like, all this music that you guys are listening to basically originated and started, from R&B, pop, hip hop, all the great tastes and all the different things that you listen to, all the different genres have one thing in common. It basically started, the roots of it started back from blues, right? And it could be traced from blues to country to rock to K-pop or whatever have you, right? And blues basically came from ring shots and from it being a ritual with enslaved people, right? And one of the kids said slaves. She said, I call them, our ancestors. The world says slaves, but we say they are our ancestors because they were not property or animals. They were people. And she was like, the ring out shouts that they used to do was basically banned. They wasn't supposed to use them. And basically this, of course, would be with their hands and their feet. It would be chants. It would be prayers. They would do this clockwork, circle, and that was considered dancing. So sometimes they would get into trouble because the dancing was forbidden. So she introduces them to John Lee Hooker, who was a blues singer, songwriter, guitarist, legend, and she basically showed them this chalkboard behind them with all the different birth spiritual, ring shouts that they used to do on the foundation for blues and every other genre after that. And she says any song you listen to, your favorite song, you will hear something that comes from one of those old blues songs, right? Pay attention to the guitars, pay attention to the rhythms, pay attention and see if you can hear the similarities, and you might be surprised. So I like that she gave them, that little breakdown and teaching, and we know that that is, the heart of who Darla is, right? Besides her writing, she's in a really good space when it comes to that. And so, of course, like I said, we dealt with, seeing Darla go to rehab, or AA, I should say, and her admitting to them that she had been dealing with somebody in her past and she didn't want to tell her husband because she didn't want to get him, upset and make him angry or whatever, right? And she was like, basically saying that she knew why she didn't want to tell him, because she knew that he could possibly end up getting into trouble, going and doing something crazy because he loves her so much. And she was saying he's a good man and he hasn't been in trouble in a long time. And she know that he would forgive her. But he basically, she doesn't want to take the chance of what he would do to this other person, because she doesn't want him to end up getting himself back into trouble, right? He's worked so hard to get from there, and I think anybody could understand that, right? And so basically, her advisor or counselor or whatever that was there was saying to her, like, we cannot keep secrets. Secrets will basically, ends up killing you inside, and they end up causing even bigger problems. Is there any way that you could sit down and try to have that conversation with him and be open and let him know what's going on? Because that could end up becoming an even bigger issue by you not telling him what's happening. She was saying that it had triggered her and stuff like that. And so she was like, I can't tell him. And she says, girl, keeping secrets is poison. And I have to agree there. She was like, can you please consider another way? And, to unburden yourself, it's really important that you share your truth. And Darla said that she was going to try, okay? She couldn't make no promises. And I'm like, please, Darla, try. Please, girl, because I do see it being worse if he ends up hearing about it from Chase or anybody else and not hearing it directly from you. Now, in the meantime, Mike over here at this party, honey, he over here talking about a round for everybody, giving his damn credit card. He's like, I mean, everybody, okay? We gonna party down. You got girls coming over to take pictures with him and this and that. He swear he out here living his best damn life. And so who should come walking up, baby? I said, wait a minute. I forgot for a minute, like, who's this lady? Then I realized that's Grandma. And Grandma said, let's go. Okay, and then Zane thought he was going to be cute for a minute and was like, oh, who's this? What's going on? He was like, hold up, wait a minute. Put a stop on that. That's my grandma, okay? So he had to get his behind up and go with her, okay? And everybody was looking shocked. I said, time's up, boy, okay? Time's up. Time to get back to, reality or whatever. And so when they get back to the house, of course, he trying to tell his grandma about what he trying to do and how he, didn't want to, like, hurt them or didn't want to talk to them right now until he could get certain things squared away. And Grandma let him know, nah, you don't want to face them. That's what it is. You've been trying to avoid them. And she basically took one of his old photos down that he had mailed to her and was like, what are you doing? What was you thinking about putting that out there? And he's saying that it's art. And she's like, no, this is art, okay? And showed him his old photo that he sent her. He's like, you still got that? She was like, of course. I put it in the frame and I've kept it ever since, you sent it to me. She was like, you got such a talent. You just got to be careful how you use it. He over here talking about he want to fit in. She was like, Dad had basketball. Mom's always been a boss. I don't really know where I fit in at or whatever the case may be, right? And I get that, Micah, but you're not the first person to have a rush path, like Grandma said, okay? The difference between, passion and posterizing and pretending, okay, is what it really boils down to. You're brilliant. You have the talent. You can do things. So she was like, what I saw you do, you chose to do something really horrible and damn hurtful with that NFT and with those people tonight. And that just should not be you. That should not be where you at. That's not your spirit. That's not what you should be about. And then, that's not from your heart or whatever the case may be, right? And I love what his grandmother said to him. I love the fact that she went and got him and that, she wanted to bring him back down to earth. And he told her he had made $200,000 from the NFTs. And she was like, that's a lot of money. And she said, well, you're going to have to go ahead and just get yourself together. She had to take a deep spiritual sigh, okay, and says, was that really worth the price of your mother, though, and the hurt that you caused her when it comes down to it? And that's really what it does come down to, because I said on my last week's review, at this point, Micah, you selling your soul. And so, you have Nova's chilling, sitting, talking with her friend, talking about them, how they met and being a regional manager and working in the supermarket and all of that different kind of stuff. And, then they got into talking about the cop that she was dating, and she was saying she hadn't seen him since he turned himself in. And last she heard, he had moved or whatever the case may be, right? And she said, but I'm with somebody good now. Things is great. And he was like, is it black? Is he black? And she said, yeah. He said, okay. She was like, all right, now be funny. He was like, no, but seriously, black love is beautiful, okay? And so You know, they sitting over here smoking their thing. She telling him about the movie deal, and they just was, conversating about different things. And so, she told him that she just wanted to keep growing and expand, and the new spaces that Nova trying to be in or whatever. So he was saying, I hear you. I wasn't trying to say nothing sideways, and I want you to grow, and I want you to tend to your roots, and on the ground or whatever as well too. And so when he didn't really say, Mr. Cobb name, he just was like, oh boy, that's when she said, nope, I ain't seen him since he turned himself in. And, he went on down wherever the heck he went to. But we know already that he probably going to pop back up, sometime down the road again. But she was asking what happened, and he said, asked her what happened, I should say. She said, nothing, that the blue protects the blue, and he went back to, Baton Rouge, and then nothing else more than that. And so that's when she started, telling him about Dominic and how great they are, right? But of course, she feeling in a little runt right now because Dominic is not around. And so now when, Darla and Ralph finally get to sit down, she's fixing these balloons up or whatever. He like, I see Billy done put you on, balloon duty. And she's telling him some ways he could help. And he like, all right, Darla, let's get to it. Spill it out, okay? Because you've been quiet all night. You ready to talk about it? Because I'm ready to hear about it. And I'm like, yes, Darla, okay? Screaming at the TV, saying, tell him already, all right? Tell him what the heck he needs to know. And so she basically do tell him that she went, to AA today, right? That is why she missed True's appointment. And he was like, did you do anything or whatever? Because she said, I was in a meeting. Did you drink? And she tells him, no, she didn't. Did she slip? No, she didn't. She went straight there to the meeting or whatever, right? But she was just feeling really, really overwhelmed and really, really, close to it. And she got ahead of it before she relapsed. And you could see that Ralph took a big sigh of relief. That made him worried. And he was like, because of what happens early at the mill. And she was like, no. And so she was like, it's more than that. It's a lot of things. It's just been kind of all piling on. And so he was telling her every time she keeps something from him, it ends up getting messed up. Take advice from a pro, And I'm just like, please, darling, yes, tell him. But of course he says you good. And she says, yeah, it's just been a lot of things or whatever, but I'm gonna, push through. And she's giving him that smile, and he gives her a kiss, and she tells him thank you. And I'm like, Darla, like, I need you to have more faith in Ralph Angel than that too. And that's why I'm saying tell him with the whole family, because I think that, they will all give you guys the strength that you need and be able to pull together whatever, right? And so after this, class that she did, her and the teacher had met up, and they were saying like she messed with, they messed with the wrong one and crossed the wrong one, and they would stick together and push through and everything. Micah's waking up to his grandmother, and he's saying thanks again, and she's saying you still need to apologize to your parents, okay? She done made them some coffee. He said he will, and he basically was saying that do you know when they'll be back? And she was saying next week, and she said, but you need to call them, this morning or whatever, because they're making a difference. And, all of this that you're doing or whatever the case may be is just pulling focus or whatever, right? And so he was like, yeah, I get it. So he looks up and he notices that she still has this, that she has this picture of Rashad Stevens. And she's like, yeah. He was like, it's crazy. I'm in his class right now. She's like, oh, well, when I saw it, reminded me of you, so I bought it. And he's like, really? He was like, wow, grandma, you dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? You never seem to amaze me. And he was like, see, that's the status that I'm trying to get to. And she was like, you can. There's no reason why you can't. And, he wants his art to have the half of that impact that Rashad's does. And she was like, you will. He was like, you just saying that because you're my grandma. She's like, no. Even if I wasn't your grandmother, I would be saving up right now to buy a Michael West piece. And guess what? Since I am your grandma, I want that discount. So I was like, I know that's right. And I definitely, appreciate grandma giving him that tough love, breaking it down for him, right? But at the same time, letting him know and giving him that boost that he needs and the confidence and the support to know, we got your back, okay? You ain't no slouch. Them guys need you. You don't need them guys. So now in the meantime, we get to this bachelorette party, honey. They was having a good old time. I say, yes, I'm here for the ladies. Y'all get into it, okay? Vaz over here pouring shots. Everybody looking cute. You know, Miss P is saying it's wonderful to be here, even though she know that this is Sandy's night. She really needed it. She's so happy to be here. She haven't laughed this long in a long time, you know. And she was like, the only thing that would make it better is if we had some strippers up in here. I said, okay, Miss P, I heard that. You know, they start doing some never ever type of stuff and never have I ever, whatever, and throwing back they shots. Meanwhile, Hollywood and them over here getting their drinks on. They saying pull out the cards, get the cigars. You know, they gonna have a wild night. And, you know, as they getting the cards out, Prosper pulls Ralph Angel to the side for a minute and basically ask him if he'll be his best man. You know, if he could go ahead and step in for his father since his best friend is not there. The next best thing is to have Ralph Angel be there. And Ralph Angel is like, I would be honored. I said, oh, I can't. Too sweet. Okay, too sweet. You know, so in the meantime, Vi and them decides to go bum rush the daggone bachelor party, okay, and bring the ladies to the guys. They all drunk up, and Vi putting on the music and coming over dancing on Hollywood. You know, everybody has somebody. And, you know, Ralph Angel asked Darla if she want to step out and look beautiful tonight. And, you know, they step outside for a minute. Old boy that's been trying to get with Billy come over and ask for a dance. She talking about, yeah, one dance. So, you know, Nova was looking kind of lonely by herself, and she looking at her phone because, of course, Dominic is still not back. And old Grumpy Pants end up asking Nova if she want to get up and dance and show them, you know what I'm saying, how it's done. But Hollywood was looking at Aunt Vi like this when she came up in there with them ladies, okay? He said, we gonna talk about this later, girl, okay? We gonna talk about this later, but we gonna dance for now. So I thought that was cute, you know? And as we ended out the episode, we had, you know, Nova and Ralph Angel just laying back on, you know, they little truck or whatever, looking up at the stars. And, you know, just saying that they love each other and stuff like that. And who should we freaking, you know, hear come on the radio, and Ralph Angel start talking about, you know, Dag, this was my song, okay, back in the days. He's like, you know, would you get up and have this dance with me, baby? You know, Miss Board Alone. And she says, yes, she will. And it basically was, Jesse Powell, you know, who, you know, recently passed away. So I was like, wow, so fitting, right? And one of my favorite songs that I ran in the ground that stayed on repeat in this house, all right? And so basically they go ahead and get up to dance, and we hearing, baby, it's you, the way you walk, the way you talk. I can't sing right now, y'all. I could barely daggone talk. I'm actually losing my voice. So pray for me that I could do my next 2 videos that I got to do tonight. But that was the episode, y'all. You know, put it in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this one. You know, let's discuss. Do you think that, you know, Darla is ever going to feel comfortable enough before it really hits the fan, because we know that it will, to tell them all what is going on, honey, okay? Put it in the comments. Let's discuss. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Give me a wave. Let me know you came by, okay? Put some flames up in the sky.